The Dodgers won a nail-biter against the powerhouse Seattle Mariners. Yeah, I'm calling them a powerhouse. All of our favorite bullpen characters played a role in this game, and they were also mostly successful. We're talking about it all. We're breaking it down here on this edition of All Dodgers. Man, at you live from my home studio in beautiful La Puente, California. This is the All Dodgers podcast. We hit some mez part of the FanDuel, or we are presented by FanDuel, part of the Bleav Network of podcasts. I'm going to bring in the internet's number one bully. That is Jeff Snydog Snyder.
You get nervous when you talk to me? Is that why you're stumbling?
Yes. No, yeah. I forget the words. You know, I'm dyslexic. All right. Can you stop bullying me about it?
I thought you were just stupid.
There it is. Hey, guys, the Dodgers won a ball game, and Tanner Scott pitched in it. How about that? Roki Sasaki also pitched in it. Blake Treinen pitched in it, who probably had the worst outing of them all. A bit of a weird outing, but yeah, Dodgers win. They won a meeting this game. They won their hangover game. Jeffrey, how do you feel about this particular contest?
Hey, Tanner Scott, new career high in saves, #career year. This was I told you guys yesterday, today's game, this whole weekend is just enjoy watching baseball. That doesn't matter. But the fact that the Dodgers are able to pull off a win makes it better, because Dodgers are always more fun to watch when they win the game.
Allegedly.
Seeing maybe Keektember leading into Keektober a little bit, hopefully. And a bullpen game that the Dodgers only allowed 2 runs. It's hard to complain about that. And one of the runs was an unearned run off the starter. So the actual bullpen part of the bullpen game only allowed 1 run. And that was Blake Treinen. So, and for him, that's a pretty good outing.
Yeah.
So
again, it was a weird one for him as well. You know, the leadoff batter reaches because he wasn't making sweet, deep eye contact with him, and that stupid pitch clock rule thing, whatever you'd want to call it.
Walking the leadoff hitter with a pitch clock violation isn't the best way to get past your struggles. But yeah, then there's some bad luck. There's a weak contact infield single. You know, obviously the RBI hit was well hit, but you know, Blake Treinen didn't walk the world today. Looked like he kind of knew where the ball was going. Now the next step is we'll start getting some swing and miss again, because that's when we can maybe start trusting him. Definitely, it wasn't a huge step backward today, but it definitely wasn't the step forward we were hoping to see maybe.
No, good steps all around, I guess we could say, for the lineup. Again, the hangover lineup in there. Let's talk offense a little bit. Kike talking to Kirsten Watson right now in the postgame, and I like what Alex said here in the chat a little bit earlier. B squad got it done. Good night for Tanner. Need him right. But yeah, the B squad got it done. Kike with the 2-run homer. You got Dalton rushing with an RBI in there. Just enough points on the board to win a ball game. And you know, we got to learn a lot about Mookie as well, new future country music star Mookie Betts, and I'm sure my DT co-host Lana Rizzo heard the whole Morgan Wallen thing and went, "Oh wait, I have a sound for that." Yeah, so she's probably going to be blowing up.
That was pretty good.
Mookie's cell phone on that one, but. Fun game. I like T-Mobile Ballpark. I like it when the Dodgers go there and make the Mariners lose. I like seeing these people get to be humanized. Like, you know, people have given a lot of crap to Mookie over this season, mainly the first 4 months of the season where he was really pretty doo-doo to bully him. But now he is good again, so we can love him and we can like him. And also, he's just playing guitar now because why not? You know, if they lose in the postseason, though, people are going to be like, hey, stick to baseball.
More batting practice. Let's guitar. Yeah, those bullies. The big dumper got 2 hits, so the crowd got to chant MVP at him a lot. He also struck out 3 times, including maybe my favorite plate appearance of the season so far, Roki Sasaki against Cal Raleigh. 1 pitch, 2 pitch, 3 pitch strikeout. Dumper didn't think that Roki would triple up on the splitter, but Roki tripled up on the splitter, and it was a beautiful thing. So just a fun baseball. And like the Dodgers didn't play super well. They had 6 hits. They struck out 14 times. You know, it wasn't a great game, but pitching wise, you know, the last 2 innings were a little bit stressful, but overall you give up 2 runs in 9 innings to a team that has won as many games as you have this year, a very good Mariners team that didn't have their hangover lineup in the lineup. You know, it was a great pitcher's duel kind of a game.
And I think it's worth noting, before we went live here, I asked Jeff, so what are we going to plug, or how are we going to shoehorn the FanDuel thing in here? Because obviously we appreciate FanDuel for presenting the All Dodgers podcast. We appreciate you guys supporting FanDuel in any way, shape, and form that you do. And I decided to look at the league winners here on over on the FanDuel, the league winner betting odds, and the Mariners right now, or at least before that final out, are the pennant favorites, the plus 200 to win the American League pennant. So people think they're good. They are a good baseball team. The Dodgers beat them with the P lineup. They beat them with a bullpen game where Edman only went one inning with, intentionally went one inning, and then Robleski being in there, and everybody else getting eyes on Will Klein. So I just want people to appreciate the fact that the Hangover lineup was able to beat the, I don't know if you want to argue, best team in the American
betting
League.
Favorites.
The betting favorites, at least.
Yeah. And if the Dodgers can win one of the next two games, the Dodgers would have home field advantage in that World Series if it were to come down to the Dodgers-Mariners. The Dodgers probably aren't likely to catch the Yankees or Blue Jays for home field advantage in the World Series, but all they got to do is win one of the next two to have home field advantage if it happened to be the Mariners that they were to play against in the World Series. So, which is really the only thing that they're even kind of playing for still is World Series home field advantage.
Yeah. So I would like them to get that.
Sure. Yeah. Although, if they don't have it, then when they sweep the World Series, they get to clinch it at home, so
that would also be nice.
Pros and cons to everything.
Have they? They've won at home before.
Not in a long time.
It's been a while.
It's been a long time.
Back in your day?
Before my day.
Before your day.
Yeah, because they won in Oakland in '88, they won in Texas in 2020, and they won in New York in 2024. So I think in '81, I can't remember for sure. I was only 4 years old. But yeah, if it wasn't '81, it was back in the, they probably didn't. I don't know. It's been a while.
People will have us have our backs in the chat. We are going to get to the chat in a little bit. We got some super chats. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us. Please hit that like button because you like it when the Dodgers win. Subscribe to the channel. Trying to get to 20,000 subscribers, and the only way we can do that is if you guys hit that, mash that, destroy that subscribe button here on YouTube. Of course, also check out the show and its podcast platform: Apple, Spotify, iHeart, everywhere you get your podcast platforms or your podcast audio in your ear holes. Check those out. Rate, review the show. It also helps us out. The decision to go with, essentially it was a bullpen game, even though you did run out, your number 5, number 6 starter in Edman Sheehan. I'm assuming there were some people who were probably a little bit like, what the F are you doing here? What the Jeff are you doing? Now Dave is starting to mess around with with the starting rotation and all this kind of stuff. I like the idea of getting as many eyes on as many arms as you could possibly see over these final 3 games. This is one way to do it. What was your impression of deciding to go with the bullpen game here?
Yeah, you can assume that tomorrow's game with Tyler Glasnow going will be a traditional start because Glasnow is going to be a starter in the postseason. He's not going to start a game for a week or whatever it is. I remember when the NLDS starts.
It would be Saturday.
Saturday?
Yeah.
So 6 days. So, a traditional 90 to 100 pitch start. And so, yeah, you have all these relievers that you want to see in action. And I think it was good. The guys we saw today, Justin Robleski got to go 2 innings, which is going to be part of his role in the postseason. And it wasn't perfect, but, he allowed 3 hits, but he also struck out 3 guys, didn't allow any runs. Yeah. It was a good outing. You got to see Will Klein do an up down. You got to see Anthony Bonda do an up down. There, and then you got to see Roki Sasaki for the second time in 3 games. Plus, we know that they need to see Blake Treinen and Tanner Scott more, not so much to decide whether or not they're going to be on the roster, because the fact is the Dodgers pitching staff on the wild card series roster is going to be exactly what it is right now, minus Tyler Glasnow.
Most likely, yeah.
That every reliever who is currently on the roster is going to be on the roster in the wild card series. The question is, when are they going to pitch? What roles are they going to be in? Because no, Dave Roberts isn't going to roll Blake Treinen and Tanner Scott out there for saves just because he loves veterans in postseason games. That's not, anybody who thinks that he will doesn't understand how much Dave Roberts wants to win another World Series.
Yeah.
But they are going to be on the roster, and so we need to see them pitch.
Yeah, and that's a good response to a couple of the chats that I happened to see right here. Don't Care 187 saying Scott and Blake off the postseason roster. It's just probably not gonna happen, and I don't think it's necessarily because of the money factor. There aren't necessarily guys pounding down the door to take those.
There's Kasperius and Hurt are the only two options,
and you haven't seen Kyle Hurt since 2023.
Yeah, if they were considering that, those guys would be in the big leagues now, getting some reps. It's just, they may be thinking about them for a later series, but yeah, they're not going to be pitching in the big leagues in the postseason next week.
Yeah, and we also had the same kind of thought from Stop Motion Hooray. Dave really thinking of putting Treinen and Scott on the roster. They definitely love traffic. I will tell you that much, and that's why I think I really liked what I said on Wednesday's game about Treinen. I liked him in that spot, to borrow a Dave line, having him come in with traffic that's not his own already on the bases. I think he would be. He has a better chance of being successful just because he's kind of used to that sort of role. But yeah, there's not a whole lot to complain about in this game here. Yeah, Tanner Scott loaded the bases. That's something you talked about. We talked about a couple days ago here on the show. I know that's something you talked about on your old show that's now a football show. He is somebody who he likes a lot of ducks on the pond. He's.
I don't know if he likes it, but he sure does do it a lot. Yeah, and I said on my old show that before last year's trade deadline, I said Dodger fans would hate Tanner Scott because he allows too many base runners. He walks too many guys. Today it wasn't walks necessarily. He hit a dude with barely grazed a dude, an intentional walk. I think the intentional walk was the only actual walk, but yeah, I mean that was kind of the Tanner Scott experience. And realistically, it was 2 outs, nobody on, right?
Yeah.
When Raleigh came up. And so Cal Raleigh gets a double. Cal Raleigh is maybe going to win the MVP award this year. According to FanDuel, he is still the favorite at -130 to win the American League MVP award.
I agree with the odds.
Yeah, and he's a good hitter. And, not a great pitch, but he kept him in the ballpark, which is kind of your goal. When the guy with 60 home runs comes up in a 1-run game and 2 outs in the 9th inning, your goal is don't give up a home run.
Yeah.
And so he accomplished that. Hitting the next guy with the second pitch of the at-bat, not part of the plan. I guess they intentionally walked Rosarena or Julio first and then hit the guy with the bases. Yeah, it was not a clean outing, but, we did see – the flashes. He struck out a Rosarena with the high fastball. That was, it was a very good pitch. And then he struck out Eugenio Suarez in the game with some good pitches.
Really nice, a really nasty slider to get him to swing over. And it played well. You and I were watching that together, albeit apart. And holding hands, of course, here through the magic of the internet. I still put my hand the wrong way because I don't know how it works. The pitches just overall were better. And the fact that he was going like fastball, then slider, then maybe a slider, then fastball, not just sticking with what we saw in his previous outing or second to previous outing or however you would say that more smarter goodly. Not just going slider, which eventually, Perdomo was able to catch up to it because he was like, oh, I've seen this pitch like 100 times in a row. I don't anticipate Tanner Scott getting 8th inning, 9th inning opportunities in the postseason. So that's where I'm not necessarily frightened, worried, scared. I think there's, you've seen these starter arms, the guys they really want to rely on late in the game. Maybe some Vesia in there. I'd like to see some Vest, continue to, or actually start putting together some clean outings or whatever. But you're not going to see Scott. Maybe you see Blake Treinen in key roles late in games, but I don't think you see Scott too much. He's going to be more low leverage early game stuff. John asked in the chat earlier, John Chan, missed the game today. Hope Sasaki pitched well. And also Stop Motion Hooray saying Roki definitely their new postseason closer. Roki, we talked a little bit around him already again. Very good for his second appearance. I'll put this tweet back up from my buddy Matt Moreno talking about this is his first time going, what is it? Not back to back, but it's pitching on 2 of 3 days, looked very good. I really like that he actually gave up a hit as well because seeing him pitch out of a stretch, I felt is pretty dang important. And there was no damage. One hit in his, 6 outs. It's pretty dang
in
good.
general, in life, I am a big believer in what comes next is what matters, because you give up hits, you give up home runs. It happens. Tanner Scott and Roki Sasaki both got the first two guys out and then gave up a double to a good hitter. The question is what came next. And for Sasaki, it was striking out the possible AL MVP on 3 pitches. And I saw in the chat earlier, Sydney saying that Suarez would have walked if he hadn't swung at all those bad pitches. And the same is true for Sasaki. Only one of the pitches that Roki threw to Big Dumper was in the strike zone. But that's the thing about good stuff. And it's why I talk about good stuff. And I know at least one person in the Discord has taken to referring to Tanner Scott as Tanner Good Stuff Scott to make fun of me for mentioning the stuff. But stuff is important, because when you throw 100 and have a filthy splitter and you can make them look alike, you're going to get really good hitters to take really bad swings at when they guess wrong, and when they guess right, like Rosarena did against Roki, they're going to hit it even harder than he threw it in, and so that's where there's always going to be work to be done. But Tanner Scott does still have the good stuff to get the swing and miss, because the fastball.
Why would you do that?
Is up?
You're back.
Okay, good. The fastball is good enough that they have to respect it. And so you can't just sit slider. That was the problem the other night, was that he just threw slider after slider after slider. So they did sit slider. Today, like you said, he was mixing him in better. Still definitely work to be done. And like you said, not there. We haven't seen enough from him. No matter, he could come in and throw an immaculate inning on Sunday, and it wouldn't be enough that any of us would feel comfortable saying, okay, he's the closer now. But the stuff is still good. He can get, but they're going to pick and choose the parts of the lineup and, the situations. And hopefully the offense can just give them a bunch of low leverage situations. So Tanner Scott can continue figuring things out in low leverage. I like today because there is no lower leverage than this game literally does not matter.
Yeah, that is fair. I would say, or would you say, give me good stuff, living stuff? Well, I'm going to go ahead and do that for myself.
Live stuff, I guess, is a form of the verb to live.
It's funny. We're almost 20 minutes into this show. We spent 10 minutes or so before the show went live together, watching the game, looking at each other on here. And I didn't realize we're wearing the same shirt. John asking, is there an All Dodgers podcast uniform? There is tonight on this Friday. So
what's on the back of yours?
Absolutely nothing. There's
no
back.
You have the LA logo?
No. I got a pocket. It has pockets.
You just have a blue pocket shirt. Yeah, I've got my. Who is it?
Oh, that's Mookie.
I got my Mookie shirt on.
Country music superstar Marcus Lynn Betts.
I would guess they're not the same size. My shirt and Mookie's shirt.
No.
I think you could fit. What do you think? 5 Mookies in my shirt?
There's your All Dodgers question of the day right there. How many Mookies
could fit in my shirt?
Oh, God. Earlier in the chat, we got a super chat from Bacon Tree, $2 super chat. Thank you very much. Liking some stuff out of Roki. I didn't look at the numbers. I'm not really one of those StatCast fiends or whatever, but I guess the IVB was more gooder for Roki, the backspin on it.
I hadn't looked at it today. Where is it?
It's somewhere.
Let's see. Roki. IVB. Yeah, it was decent. Yeah, 16, 17 inches today on the four-seamer.
It looked like, the eye test now.
The horizontal break was the arm side run was back to being more what we're used to, 10 to 11 inches. The other night he had a couple 14, 15 inch horizontal breaks. Today was back 10 to 11 inches, which is about what it was earlier this season when we saw him. But the velocity was up. He hit 100.1 was his high. He had two others that rounded up to 100. The slowest four-seamer he threw was 98.3. So the velocity's there.
DFA.
Velocity's there. IVB looks good. And, yeah, all in all.
The stuff just looked overall great, if we're being honest. Roki kind of coming up out of nowhere at the end of the season, being sneaky elite. Two very, very small sample size, but it's right now with the state of this bullpen, it's very much a, are you breathing and can you throw strikes? You're kind of in there.
And you mentioned Francisco Rodriguez when we were talking before the game started.
Yeah.
You don't need a big sample size. You just need a 4-week sample size. Give me 4 weeks of awesome.
That's a good point.
And then Roki can go back to being trying to be a starter or whatever. Although if he's a dominant reliever this postseason, they might just say, "Hey, Roki, how do you like throwing 101 out of the bullpen?"
They will Bobby Miller his ass as much as they can, ride him in the starting rotation until it's very obvious that it doesn't work. But I don't know. I don't want to think about next year and all that kind of stuff yet. We got $1.99 from 300 GJW. Thank you very much. And Scott cannot sniff any meaningful innings in the postseason. Chances are any inning he pitches is going to be meaningful in some way. Even the innings that Brent Honeywell threw last year were meaningful in that it kept good pitchers, living pitchers, more rested for the rest of those series. Just don't be god-awful. If he's going to be on the postseason roster, just don't be god-awful. That's it. You can load the bases. He could play with our blood pressure. Just don't allow runs to score, exactly like he did tonight.
Yeah, and I see this comment from Stop Motion Hooray saying, but even in low leverage, they can give up multiple runs. So it can, even with a big league, it can be a disaster. And that's true. But they'll also have a quicker hook, If they don't have it on a given night, they're not going to stay in. If they bring him in to face the 6, 7, 8 hitters and he only gets one of them out, they're going to say, okay, we're not giving you the top of the lineup for sure. Maybe we'll give you the 9 hitter. But we're not giving the top of the lineup. And so, yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of disaster scenarios we could come up with for how this postseason end up sucking and making us cry. I would guess we're at like 10% chance that Tanner Scott is the reason we cry in October. There's just it's a high percentage for any one player, especially a guy who's your highest paid relief pitcher. But all in all, there's so many other ways that we could end up crying this October that are probably more likely than Tanner Scott blowing an important game.
I'm hoping we cry because we didn't get enough champagne to celebrate each time the Dodgers clinch an advance or whatever. They move on champagne in the postseason. That is the champagne of Cokes, I hear.
The champagne of Mormons,
Hey, listen, I'm telling you, a nice cold canned DC with lunch, there's very little better. I want to get through the rest of our super chats, then I want to tell people about DeleteMe, and then I want to move on to our other news and notes and updates of the day. Then we'll keep hanging out with the chat. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us so far. Richie Flores, $4.99 earlier in the chat, saying watching Tanner Scott and Treinen pitch is like driving a microwave through a car wash. Super chats is the way to go to get Jeff to not ignore me. Care to comment about that, Jeff?
Sorry, what?
Oh, you were ignoring him? I see what you did there.
Yeah. See what I did?
For a brief second, I was like, you don't have to pull up the DeleteMe read. I already have it. You're good to go.
I saw that when it came in, so I've been ready to ignore Richie on that one. You think I can't ignore a super chat, Richie? I'll ignore a super chat.
That was pretty good. Edgard Martinez with the $4.99 super chat. Thank you very much. I do not trust Scott. Fool's gold. Yeah, I mean, we're not saying you have to trust him.
Tonight wasn't even fool's gold. Tonight was one of those chocolate coins wrapped in gold wrapping that nobody even thinks is gold. Like, nobody's saying tonight was a good outing. The fact is Tanner Scott's going to be on the postseason roster because of the other options or lack thereof.
Hey, you could read Aaron's super chat here, so that way everybody knows that you know words, Mr. English degree.
Bullpen looks better. They just need to be mid. Don't need to be the best pen in the league. The rotation has their back. Just be mid and not absolute dog water. I'm assuming if we're saying mid, we're saying dog water and not garbage. So I took a little creative license there at the end. I know words. I'm
best
cool
words.
And young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're hip and with it. I don't know. I mean, you can have some guys that are mid, but you also need to have some dudes that are elite.
You do, but you don't need the whole bullpen to be elite. And that's kind of why I enjoyed this game today, because you can see there's a lot of stuff. And yes, some of those guys who looked really good today are going to have a bad outing in the postseason. And it is going to be more on the offense and the starting pitching to win these games. But, you don't need elite offense and elite starting pitching and elite bullpen to win. It would be nice. It would be less stressful. But the Dodgers absolutely can win the World Series, even if the bullpen is just mid, even if the bullpen blows a save or two here or there. Hopefully they won't. But they could be mid and not blow saves.
Yeah, Yeah, just do enough. All you got to do is do enough. Stay alive, and hopefully the offense can wake up. We are, there's some questions about some of the dudes in that lineup, which again we'll talk about in a minute when we're talking news and updates and all that kind of stuff. I love this from Cole, $2 super chat asking FanDuel odds that Kershaw gets an at bat this weekend. If it was going to happen, I think it would have happened at Dodger Stadium, but I think the situation just didn't really allow it properly.
Yeah, especially since he's starting on Sunday, because Sunday might have been the day. I guess they could because he'd have to be the DH in order to get an at bat on Sunday.
No, I mean, he could still. He could pinch
but that's
hit.
Because he's pitching on Sunday. It would have to be tomorrow now. He would have to be a pinch hitter tomorrow, and it would be fun. But no, I would guess that there's somewhere between 0 and -10% chance that that happens, unfortunately.
Breaking news on that. We're going to have Kevin joining us in just a second here. He decided to pop in and yuck our yum or something. I don't know. You're the one who's mean to him, not me. We got $10 from Kevin Uhas, by the way, saying Dave, Doc being, oh, come on, I pushed the button already. Being a compulsive, nervous spitter. He doesn't like that. Kevin, care to comment?
I think, does Dave chew or does he do seeds or what's the?
I think he still chews.
Is he still chews, right? I think so.
And
I saw Kershaw chewing earlier this year. So do they all chew? I don't know.
Maybe it's Big League Chew, not a sponsor.
I chew.
Yeah.
God bless you. On it between your teeth.
Oh, you just go. Whoa! You can't come in hot asking if he's sucking on things here.
Between his teeth, if he's sucking something between his teeth,
I just put it so that you can see it.
I think that person needs, to be asked about, and
don't most people chew with their teeth? Isn't that how chewing works?
They don't suck on things between their teeth. They chew with their teeth.
Hey, listen, you can like whatever you want. This is America.
Hey, shout out to Kevin Uhas who did that last super chat. Dude sent an extra bobblehead from one last year that I didn't get.
All right,
it came today. Thanks, Kevin.
Kevin's representing
Uhas. He's good. He's
at least one Kevin in my life isn't a loser.
Poop.
It's true.
I
have yet to prove myself to be a winner in the eyes of one Jeffrey Snyder.
Well, what
You're
wait, Jeff, are you a Jeffrey or are you just a Jeff?
I am a Jeffrey. When I was in I don't like the name Jeffrey. And when I was in 7th grade, I had a substitute teacher in one of my classes, and she was taking roll, and she said Jeffrey Snyder, and I said my name's Jeff, and she said on the roll it says Jeffrey, and I said well the roll's wrong, and so from that point on, I made up that my name was Jefferson. And then I made up this elaborate middle. In fact, if any of my high school friends are watching this right now is when they're finding out that my name is not Jefferson. Johastomy Snyder IV. It's actually Jeffrey J. Snyder. And
you should see his airplane.
Just like Homer Simpson. Same middle name as Homer Simpson.
We have one more super chat that I haven't got to yet from 300 GJW again. Thank you very much for the love, the support, and paying money to get your words on the TV screen. The reality of the Bullpen arms is they are one hanging splitter from being a bum. I can handle hits. It's the walks, hit by pitches, letting people steal bases on you that kill me. I can understand that, but I mean everybody is kind of one hanging splitter away from being a bum. I agree. I don't like as many of the free passes, which is kind of what we saw happen.
And honestly, like with Blake Treinen last year, we were able to put up with the free stolen bases constantly because he was better at not letting guys on. But you remember Game 1 of the World Series last year, the Yankees tied it up because Blake Treinen was incapable of holding a base runner. Mm-hmm. And I know the Yankees took the lead, in the 10th inning because Blake Treinen couldn't hold a base runner. And, that's how whoever it was, Gleyber Torres or whoever ended up scoring. You can deal with it when he's getting a lot of outs. When you're also allowing a lot of base runners and can't throw strikes, you add it all together. Like kind of the things that super chat mentioned, just be bad at one of them. And I don't really even care which one it is. Give up some hits. Okay. Give us some walks. Okay. Give us some stolen bases. Okay. Just don't do more than one of them. Definitely don't do all of them. And, Blake Treinen, it's been all of them lately. Tanner Scott, it's been more. I don't think the stolen bases have been as big an issue with Tanner Scott, at least not as noticeable to me as with Treinen. But just pick one to be bad at, and then hopefully have some games where you're good at all of them, to remind us that baseball can be fun sometimes.
I would like baseball to be fun in October. I know Kevin enjoys fun baseball in October. I know Kevin stresses hard during October. Yeah, he's one of the you kind of can't hang. Is this Mulligan?
It's not that I can't hang.
It's an observation.
Yeah,
I learned this last year.
So for anybody who doesn't know, I live and die basically on every pitch in the regular season. So in the postseason, I don't go crazy. Like I don't like curse if somebody throws a ball. Yeah, I don't do that. Whatever that was, I don't do that. But what does bother me is when they lose against teams that I don't think they should lose against. And so I had a friend text me about a week ago, and he goes, I hope we have a Padres-Dodgers NLCS. And I'm like, I hope we don't have a single divisional opponent.
Yeah, that would be
in
nice.
The playoffs, because I don't want to deal with that. Like it's not interesting to me. And stress that I love the idea of them potentially not facing a divisional opponent in the playoffs. I'd like one year in the last 5. Yeah. That'd be great. Yeah. I want to face the Giants. I want to face the Diamondbacks. Don't want to do the Padres.
Yeah, I hope the Padres lose on Tuesday and Wednesday, and we don't think about them again until March.
Yeah, exactly. And if somehow the Diamondbacks make it into it, I hope the Dodgers absolutely crush them. But I don't want to deal with that. I'm good. If the Dodgers lose to the Phillies, yeah, sure, whatever. I can I can.
You can palate that. Yeah, that's a
but
easier.
divisional. I'm so over, facing the Giants in a wild card series or a divisional round or the Padres, and I'm so over that.
By the way, Clint, I looked it up. I think the last time the Dodgers won the World Series at home was 1963.
Oh, that makes sense.
Oh, they clinched that was the final game.
Home, yeah, that was even before I was born.
Wait, was 20 a home game at Globe Life?
I think they won it in 6, so it was technically a home game, but
it was technically a home. Yep.
Lame.
Yeah.
Fake World Series. I'm just kidding.
So no one wants to talk about it, but that's kind of the horrible part of this.
We're doing the BTK right now.
Playoff. No, it's a horrible part of this playoff. Bracket is if you want the best chance of clinching at home, you have to be the underdog, which sucks. You have to go to the other. You have to go away in the first 2 games, and then potentially you have to win one there or win 2 there, and then win your games at home. Like that. Yeah. If you want to clinch at
luckily,
home, you have to do that.
It's sucks. Dodgers are going to have fans in whatever stadium they're playing in.
That's a good point.
It'll be a home game for those fans, and then the rest of us can meet them at the airport and then go to the parade and all that good, or watch the parade on TV. So
they have parades.
There's a parade inside my city. You know what I would like to segue into? I was going to try really hard to get here, but whatever. I'm just going to tell people about DeleteMe as
I'm just going to say it's a segue. It doesn't have to be a segue. I said the word segue, baby.
Yeah. I was going to try again. I was going to try harder, but don't worry. DeleteMe makes it easy, quick, and safe. You like the hand gestures? That means I'm serious about this. It makes it all those things to remove your personal data online at a time when surveillance and data breaches are common enough to make everybody vulnerable, even Kevin in insert city, Illinois is over there. Data brokers make a profit off of you. They make a profit off of your data by selling it to some seedy, shady people. Your data is a commodity. Anybody on the web can buy your private details, and that could lead to identity theft, phishing attempts, harassment. Now you can protect your privacy with DeleteMe. You see it there on the screen. We are people that have we could call ourselves active online people or whatever. Privacy is important to us. We are super celebrities here in our own homes and in our own mother's basements. Even with the precautions that we all take, data brokers are still out there trying to sell our information to the highest bidder. But DeleteMe helps keep a little bit more peace of mind at the end of each and every day, each and every night. Check that out. Take control of your data. Keep your private life private by signing up for DeleteMe, and it now comes with a special discount for our listeners. You get 20% off your DeleteMe plan when you join at DeleteMe.com/hit. Use that promo code HIT at checkout. The only way you can get that 20% off is to join DeleteMe.com/hit. Use promo code HIT at checkout. One more time, that's DeleteMe.com/hit. Use promo code HIT at checkout. Thank you for listening. Let's get back into, I guess we'll call it the bad news of the day. I don't know.
Whoa. Did you know?
Yes.
Yeah, I lost
Is that
it.
the whole sentence?
I lost it.
I want to know why Court thinks Brock Stewart
rain?
was a bad trade.
I know that one. I know that one. Have you ever seen The Rain?
Yeah.
Right?
We're very proud of you, buddy. Oh, that's a good question.
Who sings it?
Is it Creedence Clearwater Revival? CCR?
There you go, K-pop.
Let's go!
What a guy.
Who's their lead singer?
Oh, God, that's too...
Now
you went one too far. One
John
too far. I
Fogerty,
got
bro.
nothing.
He sings center field.
And it's Ronnie James Dio?
Dio. Forgot about that
Dio?
era. So Brock Stewart, guys, as Court was asking, what a bad trade, or pointing out what a bad trade. Brock Stewart now officially out for the season with shoulder surgery. Hey, Dodgers win the trade deadline. That sucks.
I have thoughts.
You have thoughts?
No, Jeff. We've had thoughts.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
In that trade,
Tell me more.
the Dodgers got a pitcher who has 3 more years of team control after this year. And
Which
they
is
gave
insane, by the
and
way.
they gave
that
up
he has so much
nothing.
more. Yeah.
They gave up nothing. They gave up James Outman, who has a 503 OPS or something for the Twins, which, to be fair, is better than he was with the Dodgers this year. But although his AAA numbers are worse than they were with Oklahoma City. So you can make a case that the Dodgers and the Oklahoma City Comets got better with that trade. And and they still has 3 years left. So worst case scenario, this trade is a wash and the Dodgers traded nothing for nothing.
Yeah.
Best scenario, Brock Stewart contributes sometime in the next 3 years and it ends up being a win. But the thing is, like we said at the trade deadline, it wasn't about the individual trades that they made. We just wish they had made more trades, wish they had done more. But this individual trade is not a bad trade because I don't think that it kept them from – I don't think they said, well, we got Brock Stewart, don't need to go after anybody else. I think it was just they didn't end up making any other trades, but that was unrelated to the trade for Brock Stewart. That's my opinion.
Kevin, your thoughts?
My worry in general is they were fed not false, but slightly inaccurate information by the medical staff. In a vacuum, this trade is fine. You trade for a potentially broken relief pitcher for a guy that's never going to crack the major league roster. That's fine. And Brock Stewart, yeah, you're right. In the next 3 years could contribute, or in the next 2 years at this point, could contribute to the major league roster. But the problem is we're talking about now, and they've been making trades for now. And I don't like the idea that they made a trade for Brock Stewart because they need to win now, with the idea that that's the only trade that they needed to make. And I get that there's a whole lot of conjecture and there's a whole lot of, guessing of what they tried to do. Mm-hmm. I get it. And you're right. The safe idea is they did as much as they could or were comfortable with. But like, if they were handed a medical report with Brock Stewart is 70% healthy, we can bank on him. We have a better than a coin flips chance of him contributing to this roster this year in a World Series window, which we know are hard to come by. If we're banking on that, I'm worried that they listened to that report and that report was less than accurate. And that's where I land. I'm worried that the medical staff or whoever they have evaluating these trades medically isn't doing enough, because for them to walk away from the trade deadline
with
Brock Stewart is concerning, because even if the trade was 50-50, I feel like for this administration, for this, era of Dodgers baseball, they should have pushed for more, even if it's for a Yohan Duran, who hasn't been great for the Phillies necessarily, but should have pushed for more because, like, that's what they needed. They needed a right-handed reliever, and we knew it.
Yeah.
We knew they needed one, and for them to, like, basically gamble on a coin flip is concerning. So that's
and I think the two are unrelated. I don't think they're any more or less likely to trade for a Duran or a Mason Miller or a Ryan Helsley or anybody else because they got Brock Stewart than they would have been if they hadn't got Brock Stewart. That's my thought.
I like the gamble analogy of it. It really was just a scratchy lottery right there, and they scratched off and they won a ticket. That's what it is. But they're not getting any sort of net positive this year.
I really do think the 3.5 years of team control played a bit. Like we can get 3.5 years of team control, and
which is why they won a ticket. Yeah,
and so
I mean that's great for next year, the years after. But like, man, this team is in a win. This organization's in a win now mode. Like
a little more would have been nice.
I just think the Brock trade is related to the little not getting a little bit more.
Yeah.
That's just where I get left out. Is like, man, you gotta win now. You can't.
Hey, they haven't not won yet.
No, and that's fine. And if Roki and Emmett Sheehan, Will Klein look every bit the part, I'm so glad they, bet on them. So glad. But like,
the fact is, if they had gotten Duran, it bumps them from 16% chance to 17.5% chance to win the World Series.
Take it
for sure.
Take
it. But there are no guarantees. And you look at the trades that we know how they feel about trading the entire farm for relief pitchers, and you look at the guys they didn't trade for relief pitching in 2018, 2019, and instead they traded them for Mookie Betts in 2020. It has worked out, and in the long run, I definitely want them to win the World Series this year, but more, I want them to win as many World Series in the next decade as possible.
So I will agree to your point 5 years ago, but they made the Mookie Betts trade. They signed Freddie Freeman. They got Shohei Ohtani. They have absolutely bolstered the major league roster in every way, shape, and form they can. If there was ever a time to sell out for the relief pitchers are volatile no matter who you trade for. I will absolutely concede that. But if there was ever a time to trade for the most sure arms you could, and this is a weird year
like
for
Tanner
that
Scott?
because
exactly. They
it's
made
a weird
their
year for that.
They made their trade deadline moves in the offseason with Scott, with Kirby Yates. It's just those ifs we kept talking about didn't pan out.
They had 4 months to figure out that Kirby Yates ain't it. Tanner Scott hasn't been good.
Well, he was also hurt.
They knew these things before then. If there was ever a time to push those chips in, it is literally right now. They have made those moves. They have made those trades. And God bless Andrew Friedman for having the firepower to continue to do more. I will not say at all right now that Andrew Friedman did too little. What I'm saying is he has done so much. If there was ever a time to try and push for more, it is literally this year.
And I think all three of us agree. We wish they had done more at the trade deadline. I just think don't think any of this that we're talking about has anything to do with the Brock Stewart trade.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think the
Brock Stewart trade was a trade they made, and they would have made any other trades. I think they tried to make other trades and they didn't work out. But I don't think any of it was because of the trade.
Yeah, they weren't willing to. Well, no, we do. We heard that they were trying to go after, what's his name, Stephen Kwan. They just weren't comfortable going to.
Who?
The good thing they didn't get him.
And that didn't work out.
That would have been a great trade.
Yeah,
so.
That would have been interesting.
Speaking of Emmanuel Clase, we got a $5 super chat from Ken Wolcott in the chat. Thank you very much. Saying this just in: odds are greater that Kershaw will pitch without pants on Sunday than he will pinch hit tomorrow in Seattle. And see, there's a segue. Odds, gambling, Emmanuel Clase. Yeah, I really didn't expect us to end up talking 12 minutes about Brock Stewart, but we did, and I'm proud of us. Look at that. We have the best words here on All Dodgers.
We should talk about Max Muncy now, who's an actual important potential injury to the Dodgers World Series chances.
Yeah, I got to get.
We want to do that.
I got to get Kevin plugged in on this one, but yeah, Jeff, tell people about the Muncy news.
Yeah, so Muncy hasn't played the last couple of days. We knew that, and we weren't totally sure why. And now we are. He's out with some sort of lower half injury, maybe related to, wasn't one of his hit by pitches against the Giants in the leg? Or maybe like, I feel like he got hit by a pitch recently I know he got hit in the head one time, but I feel like he got hit in the leg. And
yes,
that's so. My guess that's what we're dealing with is bruising from that. Because he said it's a lower body injury that's affecting his swing. And so it seems like something he was trying to play through. So the timing kind of lines up for me because we've been, almost 2 weeks now from when the Giants spent the whole weekend throwing at Max Muncy. And so they said they expect him back on Tuesday. I hope that the reason he's been struggling was because his leg was hurting and his leg feels better on Tuesday and he just goes back to being Max Muncy. I sure would have loved to see Max Muncy get right in the regular season, but I would guess we're not going to see him again in this series. And next time we see him in the lineup will be Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not an ideal situation. They're playing well enough right now. The offense is doing just enough without Max, but we talked about it, ad nauseum for months that they play much better when there's a good, healthy Max Muncy in the lineup. He extends this lineup with his ability to take a walk, just put together a good quality at bat. But if not, I guess that opens the door for Keektober on September 30th.
Yeah,
Kevin, you buy into Keektober?
I mean, of course, I'm a big Keektober fan. Of course, and today, Keektober came early. 3 days.
Last couple of games.
So honestly. 3 days early, 4 days early. If you want to go to October 1st, came a little early. But we know this offense, like you said, is it's a lot better when Max Muncy's healthy, and it's a little concerning simply because Dave said yet, or he's not concerned right now.
Right now,
yeah. And that's like if you speak Dave. It means there's something going on, but they're not willing to disclose it. And that worries me because there really isn't a great replacement for Max Muncy at third base. As much as I love Kike in October, I love him. I don't want to I don't want to replace Max Muncy with Enrique Hernandez.
I don't know. I don't know if it would be Kike. I fear that it would open up the door to more potential Michael Conforto, with Edman going to second and Miguel Rojas going to third, where you improve a third base defense a whole bunch. You improve the infield defense a whole bunch, but then that means more Conforto out there when it felt like we're getting that much closer to having an outfield of Pages, Edman, and Teoscar.
Either way, it's bad. Or either way, it's less than ideal.
Sorry, he's going to be good. He's going to be perfect. Everything's going to be fine. That's what I decided.
No, Conforto has been playing better as of late, but obviously he's not Max Muncy, and this lineup is not the same without Max Muncy. So I would prefer Max be healthy, but we don't know because nothing about this organization has ever led us to believe that they will give us any sort of semblance to an accurate injury report.
They're not very good at that. Cole bringing up getting hit in the head might have scrambled one of those eggs. If he's saying it's the legs, though, I don't know if it's the eggs. Speaking of the eggs,
did he face Derek Skubal?
Speaking of eggs and close to that area, $1.99 from Swollen Sausage, who loves to stir the pot, talking about Muncy getting hit in the third leg, which he's inferring his wiener. Pause for effect. Pause for effect.
Are you grilling it on your
says
your pellet grill?
Only a flesh wound. It's only a flesh wound. All right, so we'll hope to hear good news about Max. Obviously, we also Tommy Edman. It seems like the ankle's bugging him a little bit. It seemed like he tweaked it, making that diving play in center field to save Kershaw's bacon in relief the other night. I didn't see a whole lot of the updates on Tommy before the game. So Jeff, if you have those, what you got on Thomas?
There's not a ton. Just that we may see him in this series, or they may let him sit out the whole series to try to get his ankle right. That would be my guess with him too, that they'll just let him, we know that him playing center field is important to their plans. Mm-hmm. And so I think they want him to be as healthy as possible. So there's not really much point in him playing these games that don't matter. And so I would guess next time we see him in the lineup will be on Tuesday, which means we do get to see more of whoever, Haesung Kim, or, maybe we see him in the outfield. Who knows? But I would guess that Edman is going to let that ankle rest as long as he possibly can, hoping to be ready to go on Tuesday.
Rather than have more thoughts on Edman, I feel we've had enough of those. Let's talk about Will Smith, because it doesn't sound like we're going to see him before the wild card series. Maybe not until the NLDS. Kevin, do you think surviving with just Ben Rortvedt and maybe Dalton Rushing over those 2 or 3 games in the wild card, maybe even without a healthy Max Muncy, is we know it's not the best situation, but is it a manageable situation in your thoughts?
Yeah, it absolutely is, simply because of how well the starting pitching has pitched, for lack of a better term. They can limit damage. Yeah, hurled, thrown, as Walker Buehler. Walker Buehler likes to say, how many things have I have thrown? That's where it kind of comes down to. Can they limit damage? And yes, they can. And the other part is this offense can withstand 1.5 black holes as long as someone in the top 3 is hitting right, which we know Shohei and Mookie are hitting right. Freddie has also done very well in the past week. So as long as someone in that top 3 is hitting right and the starting pitching is going fine, yes, they can absolutely withstand losing someone like Will Smith. It's not ideal, of course. You would prefer to have one of the best offensive catchers in baseball in your lineup. That's not a question. But if you're looking at earlier in the year when it felt like there were too many black holes, that was because the starting pitching was bad. And they were giving up an early lead, and it felt like the offense needed to crawl their way back into it. Yeah. And by the second inning, you're like, well, yeah, you're pitching to nobody's. This time around, the starting pitching feels really good. If you get an early lead, you can sustain it and move forward with it. So, I don't love going into the playoffs without Will Smith, but I do think if there was a single year where you could go into it without Will Smith or with a poorly hitting Will Smith, it's this year.
Jeff, any other thoughts? It doesn't need to be necessarily about Will Smith, but just in general about the state of this team.
I do have one last thing on Max Muncy. While you guys were talking, instead of listening, I was finding the pitch in question. It wasn't one of the 2 times they hit him in San Francisco. It was the time they hit him back in LA on the 20th when Kai Wei Tang hit him on the leg. Because you remember Joey Lucchesi hit him in the wrist, and then Matt Gage hit him in the head in San Francisco. But Tang on the 20th hit him down in the leg, and it took out his leg. Is
that the one where he also threw the bat too? I think.
It was the next day.
Yeah, it was very reaction. Yeah.
He was very pissed off about it, which he should be. Yeah. It's against the Giants, and they've thrown at him 3 times.
So it got him. I'm just watching in slow-mo. Got him right on the right, the side of his leg, not his
just
shin,
below the knee,
but the side of his leg where his shin would be if it was, if his leg was turned.
If he was human.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know what that part of the leg is called.
The side
side of the calf.
Yeah. You can tell he doesn't have an anatomy degree on his wall.
No, I do have an English degree though. and I'm good at
my
hashtag
anatomy
math
degrees
baby.
in my closet.
Whoa. Anyways, yeah, I mean that makes a lot of sense, and that's what I was thinking of. I didn't remember all the details of it until you mentioned it there. The final thing,
but he played afterwards too. Like he
finished that game.
Yeah,
but he said that it's whatever the issue is and affecting his swing. So it's not he's not playing because he's unable to. He's playing because it's affecting his swing. So he's trying to get right so that he can swing gooder.
Yeah, I don't love that Dave said he's not worried about his availability for Tuesday right now. That to me in Davisms is this is worse than we think, or that I'm telling you, but it might be there.
What's funny is there's a whole can of worms that we could open on that. I don't know if you guys saw Will Smith's comments from earlier in the week where he outright said, it's like, I felt like my hand was worse, but they said it was just bone bruising. So I was like, all right, well, that's what they're saying. That's what it is. But he's like, I kind of knew it was worse than that. So
and that's
boom, indictment on the team.
You only know what the scans show you. And, we've seen this. I've brought up the Andre Ethier comparison. There's sometimes small fractures. You just don't see them until the swelling goes down or whatever, or do a different kind of scan or whatever. Pop up NS's most recent comment there.
I'll do my best.
What a great rapper.
The Kim?
NF, not NS.
Yeah, his son Kim brushed off the foul ball to his quad like it was nothing tonight. When he hit that ball off his quad, my son said, "Hey, be nice to that baseball."
I mean,
you're going to hurt a baseball
like
that way.
Quad is wildly different than like anything below your knee because
but this is more about the humor of him having
quads,
thick legs. Big time thick. The final thing I was going to mention before we head out just a couple minutes ago, how many C's thick in there. Fabian Ardaya had tweeted one of the things that Dave had mentioned. Emmett Sheehan obviously just throws one inning today. He's going to be back and available in the bullpen. It is Tuesday. I thought I was reading to tomorrow, but he's going to be in the available in the bullpen on Tuesday, which I figured he would be, and he's going to have 1 inning rolls in the postseason. I would imagine they'll be open to him throwing more innings if necessary, but I really like that tandem of having
a high leverage arm right there.
Yeah, having Sheehan and having Wrobleski. Like in my vision, Sheehan kind of takes some of those innings that Tanner Scott or Blake Treinen would probably usually get, and I think he's going to handle those. I really do.
And here's why I'm not worried about Tanner Scott and Blake Treinen, because you look at a bullpen of Emmett Sheehan, Justin Wrobleski, Alex Vesia, Will Klein, Edgardo Enriquez, Roki Sasaki, and Anthony Bonda. Like those 7 guys with this starting pitching staff, you may never need to use anybody else. All those guys have potential to be really good. They're not going to be perfect, but they have potential to be good. And they're not the guys who we worry, are they going to be able to throw a strike? And like you said early in the show, Clint, like 3 hours ago, hopefully Alex Vesia can get a good outing under his belt this regular season to get back on that horse or whatever. But those are guys like, and not in the order that I listed them, but some order of those 7 guys is a very good postseason bullpen.
Yeah, and Grayson had the 199 super chat just a couple minutes ago. Thank you, Grayson, talking about Ohtani. Maybe not Ohtani, but Roki, Sheehan, and Kersh are going to save this Dodgers bullpen.
Interesting point by History Man 0828. If Kershaw pitches in the postseason, they'll have to avoid putting him in high leverage situations. I don't know about that. I think that's where you want to put him. I think that's where you get the best of Clayton Kershaw if he's not going to be a starter. Is you get him in a clean inning. You don't put him in the middle of he's not a fireman, but you put him in a clean inning in the 8th or the 9th of a 1-run game. I don't know if there's another pitcher on the staff you love in that spot. Like in terms of preventing runs.
I don't disagree with you. I do worry just because, like we talked about when Clint was trying to, have Taylor Glasnow executed for war crimes or whatever. I do have
conversation.
Kershaw not getting the swing and miss. That can be a bigger deal in the postseason. So I don't love the idea. I don't hate the idea of keeping Kershaw to lower leverage situations, but also I wouldn't be nervous about him in a high leverage situation.
You know what's funny is when he came into that game against the Diamondbacks, because I remember I was with my dad. I was in South Bend. I just come back from a Notre Dame Stanford game when they were playing against the Cubs, and Kershaw had come in to do some relief pitching, and I was like, oh God, why is he here? And he was throwing his same stuff. He was throwing 95, high 80s slider. And now when he comes in, I'm like, man, maybe that fastball hits 92. Maybe that fastball hits 91. Like, there's a little bit more.
Being froggy,
there's a little bit more velocity I think he's got in that arm than he was willing to give up before, which gives me hope, at least in terms of like playing up to the competition. I feel like if he's got to empty the tank in one inning, man, that fastball, you might see a 92 light up the screen, and you just be like, I wish it was 2016 all over again.
Which is an Edgardo Henriquez slider, I think. The 92.
Yes, it absolutely is. But the difference is at least Kershaw can land that fastball.
All right, we have one more super chat, then we are definitely going to sign off here. But Esteban Contreras with the $2 super chat. Thank you very much. Who do we want to play in the wild card? The Reds or the Mets? It is, I think, still currently tied now. Both of them at 82 and 78, and I think the Reds.
I believe the Reds have the tiebreaker, and the Mets. Basically, the Reds have to lose 2, and the Mets have to win 2.
But the Reds are playing the Brewers, and the Mets are playing the Marlins. So
yeah,
the Reds have better starting pitching options. They also have less experienced bats. The Mets have bats that can drive a little bit of fear into me, and the thought of them facing the Dodgers bullpen with a maybe late and close situation. I think you would be stupid to say the Mets, despite the lack of starting pitching they have available. But anybody can have a good day. We saw it last year a couple of times, or at least one of the times with Sean Manaea, something like that. Give me the Reds. That's what I got. What do you guys got?
Yeah, the hope would be that against the Mets there wouldn't be a late and close situation, because their terrible starting pitching against the Dodgers offense, should be blowouts. But yeah, I said last week I don't like picking in these situations because there's no easy one here. I mean, give me the Rockies. I want the Dodgers to face the Rockies in the wild card series, but I've heard that's not an option. The fact is, one of these teams that is currently 82 and 78 is going to be in the wild card. I don't know for sure that the Diamondbacks were officially eliminated tonight. They're 2 games back. I think they have
It's close. I think they need both the Mets and the Reds to lose, and then they win the 2 games.
I think the Reds have a tiebreaker over the D-backs, but the D-backs have it over the Mets. And so
I would not want to face the Diamondbacks.
I guess the best Giants they could do is tie. So.
Giants officially eliminated from postseason contention.
But yeah, I think just because the Reds, their pitching is scary, but also none of them have ever pitched in the postseason because they play for the Reds, and their offense isn't very good. I think I'd feel more comfortable against the Reds, but I don't know.
The guys in the chat are saying the Diamondbacks were also eliminated tonight. Right. GI, Tim G as well, saying it.
Here we go.
Hopefully,
I figured with the tiebreakers that they're
everybody
2 games back.
If I'm being honest, the Reds scare me the most, and I said this the other night. They have some pitchers that have proven track records against the Dodgers, and I think the one way to beat the Dodgers is to have better starting pitching than them, and to force them into a tight game late into the game. So if you're talking like a 3-1, 3-2, no matter how it goes, no matter who's ahead, those tight games, I think the Dodgers have trouble in, which is why the Mets worry me, because I think they can limit the Dodgers offense, whereas the Mets, or the Reds, the Reds,
too many teams.
While the Reds can limit the Dodgers offense, I don't know if the Mets can as well. So the Reds, the Cincinnati Reds, the one with the skyline chili, they scare me the most.
Counterpoint:
of the 3 teams.
The Dodgers did win 5 of 6 against the Reds this year. And
I don't care about that. They also took 15 of 19 or whatever the hell it was against the Padres in 23 or 22 or whatever it was and lost. So I don't the regular season matchup does not matter.
But those not matter. The Dodgers won both games that Nick Lodolo started. They won the game that Hunter Green started. This Dodgers offense. The fact is, on paper, the Dodgers should beat whoever gets to the series against them.
But it's played on
bring
the
on
field,
whoever.
Unfortunately, no matter what,
it's a simulation.
It's the playoffs. Like every team should scare.
Wait, they have to play good players. They have to play against good players, living players.
My guy gets it. My guy gets it.
But every team should scare you for one reason or another. But for me, the Reds scare me because they have, I Bleav, the starting pitching that can actually shut down the Dodgers offense. So
Dodgers in 13. Dodgers in 13 through all of them. That's what I've decided.
I got two last things real quick.
Okay.
First of all, the Astros are very close to being eliminated from the postseason contention.
Somebody check on Ben Verlander.
They blew a lead, lost to the Angels tonight, and so
ooh, love that.
I don't know.
Wait, is he gonna glaze Shohei, the former Angel, or is he gonna cry because the Houston Astros are losing their playoffs?
Maybe a little bit of both. And then my last thing is Josh Naylor tonight stole his 30th base of the season. There are 575 Major League Baseball players listed in the sprint speed leaderboard. Mm-hmm. Josh Naylor ranks 563rd out of 575, 24.4 feet per second. That's 1.2 feet slower than anybody on the Dodgers. Think of the slowest Dodger you can think of. That Dodger is significantly faster than Josh Naylor. And yet Josh Naylor has 30 stolen bases. And if Cal Raleigh had hustled, this game would still be in extra innings right now because Cal Raleigh is faster than Josh Naylor. They're both tagging up. Raleigh should have got to home before Naylor got thrown out at third. That's your MVP. This is your MVP. Can't even hustle to home in a meaningless game.
Speed never slumps, baby. Speed never slumps. Well, guys, I appreciated this show. Hopefully you guys did who were watching along. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Tube in tomorrow. We'll see if he comes through. But tomorrow, joining me on my special solo show Saturday. It's not going to be a solo show. Doug McCain joining me for the first time this season, and I had to bully him about that.
That's what you do best.
Yeah, I'm a big time bully. But we appreciate you guys again hanging out with us. We appreciate DeleteMe. We appreciate FanDuel. Mostly, we appreciate you guys. If you guys want to appreciate us, check out over my eyeball here the QR code to sign up for Patreon. Patreon.com/RealFRG, or click the join button here on YouTube. Our most popular tier of supporting us and supporting independent Dodgers coverage here on the internet is $5. With that, you get access to our Discord server. And considering the postseason's coming up, it would be a great time to join a bunch of like-minded Dodgers fans that are going to lose their soup. I can say shit tomorrow, but I won't today. I guess I could say it now, and I already did. But anyways.
That's not an F word.
We're all going to lose our minds together during the postseason, and that's about it. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Jeff. Go give them a follow. All the links are in the description. My name is Clint Pasillas. Find me at RealFRG on social media, and I think we've said enough. Bye.
Bye.